Are you a tradie who has ever worked excessive hours? 40 would be lovely, but more like 50, 60, and sometimes more hours a week. Are you working weekends? Sometimes it might be just a few hours on a Saturday morning. Sometimes it might be all Saturday. Are you missing out on family events? Are you never or rarely going on holidays? And if you do go on holidays, do you constantly have the phone attached to your ear because you're trying to organise jobs? These are just some of the things that happen in trades businesses. And one of the reasons why I love Profit First so much is because it can help with all of these. Now, when we're talking about Profit First, we're talking about the cash management system that was created by Mike Michalowicz, who is the author of the original book, Profit First, which my book, Profit First for Tradies, was adapted from to make sure that it works properly for our trades businesses here in Australia. Now, the one thing that I want to tell you is that you're not alone, but you know that already, because when you have conversations with your mates at barbecues who are also self-employed, they're also telling you that they're having all of those same problems. And often that makes you feel better. It makes it feel okay. It makes it feel like there'll be light at the end of the tunnel eventually. But what I'm here to tell you is that nothing will change unless we make some changes in your business. Now, the upside is that Profit First can absolutely help with all of those things and more in your business. And in this episode of the Profit First for Tradies podcast, what I would love to cover off is just some of the 4 key basic principles of Profit First. In Profit First, we abide by these 4 basic fundamental principles. And the reason why we do this is because these 4 principles help us implement Profit First in our business. These 4 principles help us implement Profit First in our business, not just now to get us out of the bit of a hole that we're in, but to make sure that we can continually build our business and continually build our business and build a permanently profitable business in the good times and in the bad times and in everything in between. So in Profit First, we talk a lot about using small plates. So when we're talking about small plates, what we're referring to is using multiple bank accounts for different purposes. Now, for example, if you go to a buffet, and you can continually go back and get as much food as you like, generally you're going to overeat. The same rule applies when you have 1 or 2 bank accounts with all your money in those accounts. It makes it much harder to know where you're at, and it makes it much harder to not overspend. And I'm sure many of you who are listening have had that situation where you thought everything was going to be okay, but when it come to it, you were actually short of cash. The second thing I want to talk about is we want to serve sequentially. So just like when we are told to eat our veggies first because they are the ones that are rich in the nutrients and vitamins and going to help us and our body be more efficient and be healthier, we want to start doing the same thing with Profit First. So we want to put our profit first. So anytime an invoice comes into your bank account, we want to put a small amount to start with into your profit account so you can start becoming immediately profitable. And when we're talking about profitable and being profitable, we are always talking about cash in the bank, not profit on your profit and loss report, which I am sure many of you have had that given to you by your accountant on numerous occasions and seen that it tells you you've made a profit and you think, shit, where's that money? I don't have that cash in the bank. And often what happens, I did the same thing in my own businesses when I started, was we kind of ask the accountant a question. Often they don't really answer it and we just sign the paperwork. We worry about it next year. Next year rolls around, often it'll show a profit on paper and we're still left wondering where is that cash. And that just continues to roll on and we think it's going to get better eventually. Eventually that paper profit will come into our bank account and we'll have some cash to spare. The thing is that never or very, very rarely happens, which is why implementing Profit First in your business is going to make a huge difference, because we're going to start moving cash profit from your bank account when you receive those invoices into its own profit bank account, where it will sit for 3 months until we take a profit distribution. And I'll get more into that into later episodes. The other really important thing that we want to do is we want to remove temptation. So if you are the type of business owner who sees money accumulating in bank accounts and then gets super excited and goes and spends it on things that potentially we could have waited to buy, or sometimes that we shouldn't have bought at all, then what we want to do is remove that temptation. So often that means having bank accounts at banks that you don't normally bank with. So for example, with your profit account, rather than have that in your regular banking that you would look at probably every day, or sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes a few times a week, we would suggest that you have that in a bank, not your regular bank, so that you're not seeing that money accumulate every time you go in and have a look at your operating expenses account. And that way it's out of sight, out of mind. And we're removing that temptation to see that money accumulating and justify to ourselves that we will repay that money. We'll just borrow it because we need those new tools, or we just need this, or we just need that, when in fact we don't need it, we just want it. And we fall into that same cash flow issue that we've been having for years. And the fourth and final part to this process is to enforce a rhythm. So what we want to do is make sure that we set up a rhythm that works for your business. Now, for some businesses, that might be weekly. For some businesses, it might be fortnightly. For bigger businesses, such as builders or those who are paid invoices less frequently during the month, it might be once every 3-4 weeks. It really depends on your business. And that's why it's so important to work with a certified Profit First professional when you're putting Profit First in your business, so that they can customize it to you. So it's going to work more efficiently and more effectively. So when we're talking about enforcing a rhythm, what we want to do is make sure that sometimes you might have a bunch of invoices coming together, and so you've got heaps of money, and then all of a sudden you've got heaps of bills, and it's this constant up and down, which, as you would know, is quite stressful. So by enforcing a rhythm and putting money aside, particularly for profit and for the other areas as well, it means that when we have those dips, that you've already got money aside to cover those expenses, for example. And we want to make sure that we keep into a rhythm, like if we exercise, keeping to a regular schedule, we're going to stick to it longer. It's going to be better for our health. When we eat, sticking to whatever meal timing works for us is going to mean that we're going to be healthier. Same goes for your business. If you want a healthy business with healthy cash flow and a healthy way to manage your cash, then enforcing a rhythm is going to be one of the 4 key areas to making sure that you can build your permanently profitable business. So just to wrap up today's episode, the 4 core principles of Profit First. Use small plates, which equals, in Profit First land, multiple bank accounts. Serve sequentially. Make sure you are always transferring money into your profit account first, then we go into your owner's pay, then we go into your tax, then we go into your operating expenses. And for those, we would have already taken money aside for GST, and we also would have put money aside for your materials and subs. So doing it in a particular order every single time you receive your income is key. We also want to remove temptation, so making sure when we're putting profit aside and tax aside, sometimes even GST, people would like that in another bank at another bank so that you don't see it and don't touch it. And the 4th and final thing is enforcing a rhythm, sticking to a plan that works for you and customizing that rhythm for you and your business. The Profit First cash management system is an amazing tool that will help turn your business around. It will absolutely take you from confused and the Profit First system to manage your cash is an amazingly simple and efficient system when it is set up right. It will take your business from being confused and stressful when it comes to your numbers and your money to clear and concise, and it will help you make decisions in all areas of your business much easier, which therefore means your business becomes more profitable because you can make decisions much quicker when you know exactly how much money you have available to do certain things in your business. That's just one of the many benefits of Profit First, and in the next episode I'm going to talk about each of the individual bank accounts and how you can customize the bank accounts and what bank accounts you need to make sure that you set up Profit First correctly in your business.